Ready to go!
Alrighty, ladies and gents, I am back from Zloty. I'm here, you can see I'm home again, and it's about time that I did a bit of a Zloty Tur review of my matches in particular. So I'm going to head in the shed. I got the computer set up, ready to go for me to watch my matches and kind of talk through what I felt during those moments, what was going through my head, what I felt in my hand and my arm, and most importantly, what it means from here. A lot of people have been asking me that question, what does it mean from here? I'll get to that by the end of the video, but anyway, it's good to be back home. Thanks for joining me once again. Yeah, all right, let's do it. Alrighty guys, so I'm gonna go through the matches for my Zloty Tur. You'll see the left hand comes up first now. The reason I entered the left hand competition was not because I expected to do much in it. It was mostly to familiarize myself with the conditions of the refereeing, the way the matches felt, and to just help me be more confident for the next day. So my first match, as you can see here, was Oleg Petrenko. Now he was the favorite to win the tournament. He did win the tournament on the right. He came second on the left. You'll see in our first start, I apparently elbow foul. I honestly didn't feel it. I had no idea that I elbow foul, but what I felt then was like, it felt like his hand wasn't entirely invincible. So it gave me a little bit of hope that these guys aren't huge because my left arm, it's not my good arm. Second start, he grips me low again, and to be honest, he just puts me away after we get straightened out. Pretty simple day for Oleg Petrenko there on the left hand. My next match, Zloty, you'll see as we slipped there. He gets away with a massive elbow foul. If you chuck this one on slow-mo, it's a massive elbow foul, but anyway, he would have won anyway. He elbow fouled by like 1.5 inches, 2 inches. Lifting his elbow up, but all good. Slow it down if you want. I'm going to press pause. My next match was on the right. Okay, so this is the next day now. And I got Alienkov, who was again one of the favorites. I think Alienkov ended up making the final, finishing second to Oleg Petrenko. Got him in as my first round, so tough draw. When I gripped up with Alienkov, he didn't feel amazingly impossible. Let me just put it that way. He didn't feel like it was crazy, but out of straps, his containment felt really good, and he wasn't threatening me too much. He wasn't bullying me, and so it was hard to know exactly what his threat levels were going to be. The ready go happens, and let's have a look at it. So this camera angle is very bad. I apologize for that, but the ready go happens. And he goes pretty much for a top roll sort of sideways, and I slip out underneath in a losing position. So he didn't actually pin me, but I fouled by slipping in a losing position, and they award the pin to Alienkov. I was pretty frustrated at that point. What I was feeling in my head was I felt really slow. I felt like I didn't hit my power at all, and he just denied my access to power by taking away my hand control pretty much straight off the go. So between matches then, I was angry. I was literally really frustrated at myself, and I felt like I missed the go. I was just kind of responsive. I wasn't up there and being aggressive and dictating terms like I'd planned on in my mind. So anyway, bit of a pep talk from Lachlan Adair between matches. I was in a bit of a better headspace coming up to my next one, but the pressure was on because you're 0-1 already. So I then was to face Radoslav Tur from Serbia, who is a well and truly seasoned athlete. I couldn't tell you his accolades, but I know he's been on the Zloty Tur podium before. So anyway, let's see if I can get that one playing. Right, so let me get Radoslav. Okay. So Radoslav Tur, we come to the table and we have a pretty interesting match. I was straight away, you'll see, as I step to the table, I start to rise my energy. Now this was something that I forgot to do. I wanted to be like a Travis Pageant, and I wanted to rise my energy and breathe in and really make sure my first hit was gonna be solid. Outside of the strap, my hand was feeling good. I felt like he was kind of squirming a bit. He didn't want to be gripping as much as I was willing to. I felt good. My hand felt good in this moment. I pented it up on all my energy, waited for the refs to say go, and I had this. We probably would have slipped, but I had better hand control on this go. You'll see it. It's coming up right now. Right. There we go. So I had a little bit of hand control. It would have been a slip, but I elbow fouled. Apparently I elbow fouled in that. Now these elbow fouls were really like crazy because honestly, you don't feel them. You don't know you've done one, but apparently you have. You just got to trust it. There were a lot of micro elbow fouls that were called throughout the tournament. And some, like you saw before, with on the left hand, via Santulis getting away with an 1.5 inch, 2-inch one. But anyway, back to it. Okay, this time the restart happens. I'm on one elbow foul, so I'm like, oh my goodness, keep this damn elbow down. So I was really cautious now. I didn't rise up to hit again. I was more responsive and just careful. We go into a double top roll, and we slip. Again, my hand feels alright. At this moment in time, my hand feels alright. So they put the strap on us, and I'm thinking top roll, and I'm not at all thinking hook. I wanted to take this guy's wrist, and the go happens. You see they're ironing us out now, getting us flat. When the go happens, okay, his wrist doesn't go back, and we're in a hook. Now, I was very fortunate that he elbow fouled in that one because he would have been able to pin me there. Because I committed to the top roll, as he drove for the pin, he elbow fouled, got a restart. So, very fortunate for me because had he have kept his elbow down, it would have been over. The second start, when now both on elbow fouls, I commit to the hook. I know that I can't top roll, so this time I commit to the hook, and I felt good. It's a pity it didn't play out. I would have loved to have pinned him. You'll see we go getting a little bit jittery. We're both wanting to start the match. But this one goes into the hook, and he surges and surges, and I can feel he's not going through. So let's have a look. Here it goes. Ready, go, coming up very soon. Alright, so into the hook now. I get nice and tight. He goes to surge, doesn't get anywhere. His second surge doesn't get anywhere. And he fouls off the back whilst he's doing it. So, honestly, if I press pause there, guys, I felt like that match was going to go my way. A lot of people were saying that I didn't pin anyone. It's true, I didn't pin anyone this tournament. But I can feel I was going to pin that match there. That first surge of his was solid. Second surge was less than his first. It felt straight away like, oh yeah, I got this. And that's kind of how I arm wrestle in a super match. I definitely like to tight and squeeze and bleed. So that would have played out with me getting tighter and tighter and tighter and eventually pressing. Would have been a great match. It's kind of one thing that sucks about rigid rules is that you don't get to have these amazing wars. If that had have been called a running foul, if it had been under a different set of rules, that match right there would have been a really good match for entertainment's sake. It would have been a cracker of a match that would have taken probably 20-30 seconds for me to get the pin. A lot of respect to Radoslav. Dubrovic is a really nice guy. And I was very relieved at this moment. I was very relieved that I wasn't out 0-2, even though it was on elbow fouls from Radoslav. I was relieved. So let's carry on. So my next match is against Raymond Zantanovic from Latvia, one of the OGs of the sport. First start, I could feel straight away that his hand was thick and big and broad, and his hand was intimidating mine. I was unsure what to do, whether to top roll or just grip low and go sideways. That one there, you'll see I slipped underneath. That was with me gripping low and just trying to drive sideways. I apparently elbow fouled in that slip, so they didn't put us in the straps. Even though the slip was center of the table, they said elbow foul. So I went back to the trusty old top roll. You can see here that we're both top rolling, and it's a pretty neutral slip in terms of our hand position. So I felt okay going to the straps. I felt wrist rise was okay. But in the straps, you'll see Raymond's has taken my wrist. I've jammed up, and he got close. And it took him like the fourth or fifth surge, whatever it was. Eventually, he got through. Now I'm going to press pause just there. My thoughts on the match with Raymond Zantanovic was that it's really tricky going up against arm wrestlers that you don't know, and you only get one round. I really value, and actually I rate myself as a super match puller. I would have loved the second round then with Raymond's. He felt beatable to me, but the thing is I had to guess where he was going to be beatable, and I guessed wrong. Credit to Raymond's, he had all options feeling very, very covered. Had I have had a second round with him, I would have posted high and driven forward and set a hook. What I felt was that his bicep was not going to be as strong as mine, and I suspect had I have set a hook and looked for a grinder, that it would have been good. But that's the nature of tournament pulling. It's very different to the match pulling as we see here. Oh, sorry, it's very different to the super match pulling where you get to feel and adjust. So some lessons to be learned there, but it was a pity I didn't get through this one. Had I have got through that one, the worst I would have finished was 5th, and I would have been in that Vendetta series for the top 8, but that's okay. Next time. So I'm going to press play again because I think Jordan Davis called me down off the stage to have a little interview, so let's listen to what I say. I don't know what you want. His hand is thick? Yeah, it was thick. I could feel it. I'm not going to pop it. And I could feel it. I wasn't going to turn it in. So, is what it is. It's a good experience. Good experience. Yeah, you can see me saying there, it is what it is. Good experience. I was obviously pretty disappointed. I was still smiling and laughing and shaking it off, but I really wanted to win that match and go deeper. I really did. But what else could I reflect on? The tournament pulling situation was so different from a super match. Like I said, it does change the way I feel you have to arm wrestle. I don't feel you can take my approach, which is a responsive approach. I feel like you've got to be more confident in your one weapon. I would have loved to go on through that tournament again, choosing a different weapon. Now, interestingly, this is the interesting thing that moving forward from that tournament, I spoke to a lot of people. I spoke to straight away afterwards, Jordan and Lachlan. I spoke to Krasimir Kostadinov and Jordan Sonev. I spoke to Giannis Amelins. I spoke to Mindaugas Tarasaitis. I spoke to John Brzenk and spoke briefly. I haven't spoken enough yet, but I did speak and get Todd Hutchins' opinion on different things as well. And let me first preface this with the method of arm wrestling that I went in with for all matches was my top roll. I backed my top roll as my best move, and I went in and just said, well, doesn't matter what everyone's doing, this is a tournament, just hit your top roll. Just hit your top roll. But having felt it, I never got my top roll away. Everyone denied my top roll, and then I was kind of out of position. If I was to go back and do that again, I would love to have known what would have happened if I just had have gripped for a hook. I feel like I would have done better. I feel like the fights would have been harder fought. I wouldn't have ever got like an easy win. For me, when I was going with my top roll, I was hunting easy, fast wins. But they didn't come anyway, so going into a hook and having a battle would have been better. But it's interesting because I was stuck in between. Going into every round, I was stuck in between my mind of, do I hit my top roll or do I grip slightly low like Todd Zilla would want me to and and just rip sideways. I don't know. Like I said, I felt like my arm was ready to battle, particularly with I was going to win that. I was going to pin Radoslav Dubrovic, and I feel like had I have hooked Raymond Antonovich, I would have had a much better fight and possibly won. So I don't know, but it's interesting moving forward. And guys, let me grab the camera and go for a walk. It's interesting moving forward into my training phases now and trying to work out what I'm going to do from here. Let me first and foremost say that I 100% believe in the training that Todd Hutchins has given me and set me on. I really believe in the principles of the training. My strength has gone up immensely on the vectors that he's been coaching me on. What I have identified since Zloty is some incompleteness in where I have been training my strengths. So all of the vectors that I've been training under Todd, to me, I would describe them, and I'm going to keep doing them, but I'm going to classify them as finishing strengths. So all of those positions that you see me training in the past have all been positions that implied that I cupped my wrist, essentially. They've implied that I've been in the battle. At Zloty, I never got in the battle for many of my matches, and I had to fight from a compromised position. So there are going to be some additional vectors to my training that are going to be part of my regular weekly rotation that involve, let's say, starting positions. So really strict starting positions, which are going to mean they're weaker than finishing power positions, of course. But they're going to be more intensive on the hand and wrist. And in addition to the starting position vectors, I am going to do some hand work using the same principles and methods, the conjugate system that Todd has taught me, where I'm isolating my hand and wrist and making my hand and wrist stronger. Now, I know Todd doesn't believe that the hand and wrist is what matters, but I do believe the way I arm wrestle the hand and wrist is really critical, as well as the arm power and the side pressure and that. So you're going to see an addition of a whole lot of new vectors. And like I said, I'm going to reclassify the 6 vectors I've been doing previously as finishing power vectors, and there's going to be a whole heap of new ones that target my hand and wrist specifically. When I spoke to John afterwards, John said to me, look, the critical thing that separates the truly elite from the rest of the pack is hand and wrist cupping and pronation. And I know that Todd doesn't agree with that, but he's living proof of it. But the way I arm wrestle, I do feel I need more, because those guys took away my hand and my access to power at Zloty. And another funny one that Devin Larratt said to me, I messaged Devin. He was a cheeky bugger. I messaged Devin afterwards and said, "Look, man, the lesson that I learned from this was I need more hand and wrist. They beat me because I had a lack of hand." And he said to me, "No way! Are you telling me that arm wrestling, the most important thing is the hand and wrist? No way! Get out of here!" He was so cheeky. But anyway, so what it all means from here for me is all good things. Everything is positive moving forward. I had a great time. I really am grateful for all the support from everybody in the lead up to it, and whilst I'm there, and also the messages of support since. To all the people who randomly thought this was going to be the end of my journey and I was not going to continue, you guys are crazy. There is not a chance I'm stopping this journey. It is a long journey, and this is part of it. For me, like I said, I'm someone who seeks out losses. I will continue to seek out losses till I can't find them anymore. And the Zloty, for me, was great. I loved feeling that, because that, for me, is what is going to develop me into the next generation of my training. It's going to develop me now. I've now felt what I need to feel to be able to improve and have a better shot at beating those guys next time. A few people have asked me, do I regret going 95s? I should have gone 86. No, I don't regret it. I do think I would have had a better result if I went 86. Obviously, Dan Mosier did amazing, came second. I gripped up with a few of the 86 kilo guys on the after table, and they felt much easier than the 95s. I was able to contain the guys that I did grip up with. And I know I've pulled Dan before, and there's balance there. So I think I would have done well, but I don't regret going 95s, because at the end of the day, had I have beaten Raymond Antonovich, I would have qualified for the top 8, which was the real big goal of getting there. Raymond's finished 5th after beating me, and has bought, that's got himself a ticket, not directly into the top 8, but he now has he will have a vendetta match at some point in time between now and next year, and should he win that vendetta match, he'll be in top 8. So it would have been really nice had I won that match. Would have made the top 8, but so I don't regret it, no, because that was a real big goal, to get over there and see if I could make the top 8. And John, that was why John encouraged me to actually go 95s, was for that. And at the end of the day, it was that close, so it wasn't that far off. But Overall, the experience was amazing. The production of the Zloty Tur is unbelievable. The people were so welcoming. The Mazarenko family, they were amazing people. I really enjoyed getting to know them, and was really thrilled that I actually got the chance to sit down with both Igor and Anna and hear the ins and outs of how the Zloty Tur works. And Anders Axlo from IFA, really impressed with what IFA's doing. I can't wait. I'm going to be at Florida next year for sure when the IFA World Championships are on. I'm all in on the IFA Zloty top 8 pathway. I think it's amazing. But anyway, guys, you're going to see some more training from me. The next week I'm visiting my parents for Christmas, so training will be a little bit funky, but I'll come up with something, and I'll take this camera with me and we'll do something. But guys, I'm back, and thank you once again, and see you guys again real soon.
Yes, that's a man!